Picture this. It's 11:47 on a Wednesday night. You're in a parking garage, level 3, walking back to your car after a double shift. The fluorescent lights hum, half of them are flickering. Your footsteps echo off the concrete in a way that always makes you walk a little faster, even though you've done this walk 100 times and nothing has ever happened. You've got your keys in your hand. You learned that somewhere. Hold your keys, like that'll help. You're thinking about whether there's anything left in the fridge, whether you left the TV on. Completely normal thoughts. Boring thoughts. Someone steps out from behind a parked SUV. He wants your wallet, your phone, the watch that belonged to your dad. You hesitate for half a second too long. Maybe you go for your phone and the motion gets misread. Maybe he was always going to do it. You don't see the gun until it's already up. You hear a sound, sharp and flat, nothing like the movies, nothing like you expected, and something slams into your chest so hard you think you've been shoved. You take a step back, you look down, and you see it. Oh, hey there. Today we're talking about getting shot. Specifically, what's actually happening inside your body when a bullet hits you, and what you feel at every step of the way. Because the movies have been lying to you your entire life about this, and I think you deserve the truth. Let's find out what it actually feels like to take a bullet. Okay, before we get into the timeline, let's talk about what a bullet actually does to a human body. Because this is where most people's understanding falls completely apart. You probably think a bullet hits you and punches a hole in you, like a nail through wood. Clean, direct, contained. Here's the thing, that is not remotely what happens. A 9mm round travels at roughly 1,900 feet per second. An AR-15 round travels at 3,200 feet per second. When something moving that fast hits soft tissue, it doesn't just cut through it. It displaces it violently. This is called cavitation, and it's the part nobody talks about. As the bullet passes through your body, it creates a temporary cavity that is 10 to 30 times the diameter of the bullet itself. That's a shock wave of pressure, tearing through tissue, blood vessels, and organs that the bullet never directly touches. A round that passes 2 inches from your spine can rupture your spinal cord without ever making contact. Fun fact, this is also why military forces switch to higher velocity rifle rounds. Not to punch bigger holes, to maximize cavity damage. The human body's mostly fluid, and fluid doesn't compress. It transfers that energy everywhere instantly. The 3 main ways a bullet kills you are direct tissue destruction, hemorrhage from severed blood vessels, and secondary cavity damage to everything nearby. You have 5 liters of blood in your body. A hole in your aorta can drain most of that in under 2 minutes. A hit to the heart can put you on the floor unconscious in about 30 seconds. And most of the time, you don't get to choose which one you're dealing with. Alright, here's where we break it down, because this doesn't happen all at once. Unlike, say, getting hit by a jet engine, this one takes a few minutes. And that's both the mercy and the problem. Let's go phase by phase. Impact. 0 to 1 second. The bullet has already passed through you before your brain has any idea what happened. The whole transit takes roughly 1 millisecond. 1. You have no sensory experience of the actual penetration because your nervous system is not fast enough to register it in real time. What you feel is the impact, the blunt force of something moving at nearly the speed of sound hitting your body mass. Survivors almost universally describe this as a hard punch. A shove, not a sharp pain. Not fire. A punch. You probably take a step back. You might look around for whoever hit you before your eyes go down to your chest. Your brain is searching for an explanation that makes more sense than the one that's actually happening. And here's where it gets strange. You might hear the shot after you feel it. If the shooter was close enough, the bullet was moving faster than the sound that fired it. You felt it before you heard it. Physics is wild. Right now, though, inside you, the temporary cavity is already collapsing. Vessels are already severed, and hemorrhage has already begun. You just don't know any of that yet. First 30 seconds, your body knows something went wrong before you do. The sympathetic nervous system hits the emergency button and dumps epinephrine directly into your bloodstream. Your heart rate spikes to somewhere between 140 and 180 beats per minute. Blood vessels in your skin and extremities clamp down hard to shunt blood towards your core organs. And critically, your brain releases a flood of endorphins that partially suppresses the pain signals trying to get through. This is why gunshot wound survivors so consistently describe the first 30 seconds as almost manageable. There's burning. Definitely burning. Like someone pressed a hot coal into your chest, but not the screaming, overwhelming agony you'd expect. You're moving. You're calling for help. You feel weirdly, dangerously functional. This is the phase that gets people killed, by the way. The ones who think they're fine because they're still standing. You're not fine. Your body's just running on emergency reserves and lying to you about it. The bleeding is happening whether you feel it or not. You have 5 liters of blood, and right now you're spending them. 30 seconds to 2 minutes. The compensation phase. Your heart is working harder than it ever has, trying to maintain blood pressure as your volume drops. It can do this for a while. The human cardiovascular system is surprisingly good at compensating for blood loss up to a point, but the math is relentless. You lose half a liter, your body adjusts. You lose a liter, still adjusting. You hit 1.5 liters of blood loss, you're in class 3 hemorrhagic shock. That's the threshold where your body stops compensating and starts failing. Blood pressure begins dropping below the 90 millimeter of mercury mark where organs start getting starved. Here's how you know you've crossed it. You're thirsty. Profoundly, immediately, irrationally thirsty. This is one of the most consistent things gunshot survivors report, and it's your body's fluid loss alarm going off. Your legs feel heavy. The world starts to narrow at the edges. Not dramatically, not like a movie fade. More like standing up too fast and waiting for your vision to come back, except it doesn't come back. The burning in your chest has changed. It's no longer sharp. It's something deeper, more diffuse, like it belongs to someone else. And in a way, it's starting to. 2 to 5 minutes, this is decompensation. Your cardiovascular system has been running the math and it doesn't work out. Blood pressure crashes. Your heart, which has been racing to compensate, starts losing the battle and may paradoxically begin to slow. Below a certain pressure threshold, the heart muscle itself isn't getting enough perfusion to contract properly. Lactic acid is building up in your tissues because your cells have switched to anaerobic metabolism, which is the cellular equivalent of running on fumes. You're on the ground now. You might not remember how you got there. You're cold, which seems wrong given the burning earlier, but your body has pulled all available blood to your core and your extremities are shutting down. The pain is oddly distant at this point. Dissociated. Survivors describe this phase as feeling like they were watching themselves from outside, which sounds spiritual but is actually just what hypoxic shock does to your perception. The tunnel vision is almost complete. There's a strange quiet arriving that has nothing to do with the noise around you. 5 to 7 minutes. Cerebral perfusion pressure, which is the pressure pushing blood through your brain, drops below the threshold required to sustain consciousness. That threshold is roughly 50 millimeters of mercury. Below it, your brain can't maintain the electrical activity it needs to keep you aware. The lights go, not with a bang. More like someone slowly, inexorably turning down a dimmer switch. The pain is mostly gone now. Survivors who came back from this point, the ones who got CPR in time, consistently describe a profound, terrifying calm. Not peace exactly, more like an absence of urgency. Like the part of your brain responsible for wanting to survive has simply clocked out. Your heart is still beating, weakly, trying. You're just not there to know it anymore. 7 to 10 minutes. Brain death. Without oxygen, neurons begin dying. Not all at once, the brainstem goes last, but the parts of you that are you, your memories, your personality, your sense of yourself, those are gone before your heart stops. At 10 minutes without circulation, the damage is irreversible, but you're not here for this part. You checked out a few minutes ago. So what does this actually feel like? Pull back from the timeline for a second and just answer the question honestly. The Hollywood version, which you've watched in every action movie ever made, is wrong on basically every count. It's not instant and clean. It's not a dramatic slow fall. And it's not, thank God, the sustained screaming agony you might have feared. What it actually is a few minutes of your body working incredibly hard to keep you alive while slowly losing a fight it cannot win. With your experience of that process becoming increasingly muted as the chemistry of shock insulates you from the worst of it. The thirst is real. The cold is real. The dissociation is real. The strange calm at the end is real. And survivors find it deeply unsettling to remember. The pain exists, but it's not the main character of the story. The main character's confusion, then urgency, then a quiet that you don't choose. Here's the thing about being shot that nobody tells you. Your brain is doing you a favor the whole time. It's titrating your awareness of what's happening so you don't spend your last minutes in unbearable agony. Whether that's a mercy or just a biological coincidence is a question I'll let you sit with. About 45,000 people die from gunshot wounds in the United States every year. Another 85,000 survive them. Survival often comes down to minutes in geography. Get to a trauma center within the window, and your odds are around 80%. A hit to the aorta, though, that's closer to 20%, even with immediate surgery. The James Garfield footnote here is that he survived the bullet, a shot to the back in 1881, and then died 79 days later from infection, caused by his own doctors probing the wound with unsterilized fingers. The bullet was harmless. His medical team killed him. Which is either a great argument for better healthcare or a very early OSHA violation, depending on how you look at it. Stop the bleed training exists. Tourniquets save lives, and knowing how to pack a wound is a skill that costs nothing to learn and might cost everything not to have. So there you have it, a bullet, something smaller than your thumb, moving faster than sound, and your body gets about 5 minutes to argue with physics about whether you're going to make it. Spoiler, the outcome depends almost entirely on where it lands and how fast someone gets to you. Hit subscribe if you want to keep exploring the worst things that can happen to a human body. New video every week. I'm your host. I'm already dead. I'll be fine.